Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how I transformed this golden blonde to a nice natural blonde with balayage highlights. So don't go anywhere. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all my posts and more fun stuff coming your way. So let's get straight into the video. So we are going to talk about my process, my technique. Keep in mind, whoever may get offended or may do things a little differently, this is my technique, my opinion. Obviously, I've had to get it from someone, or I came up with it on my own. Who knows? Don't know. But we're going to start with the process of applying her color. And I kept the color really close to what she already had before. My main focus is to cancel out that yellow or warmth that you guys don't really see in the video, but it is there. Her hair was actually really yellow. So my focus is to cancel that out, but take her down like a level and a half or so. And that's exactly what I did. So my color I used was a level 8, so like a level 8N or level 8NW and 7N. Because the 7N is a darker level, I want to cancel out most of her warmth, so I use a 7N to kind of counteract the warmth, all that yellow. But kept the 8NW to still keep some warmth in it, but leave it nice and natural so it can blend really good with the blonde that she have. Her ends, for the most part, in the front is actually really blonde. So my main focus is getting that back to brighten up just as much as the front. So I keep my color, my technique, I keep it diagonal, so that way it will blend easy with my highlights. I don't have to see any lines when I apply the bleach. So what I do, I keep the section the same way I want to balayage it. So I keep my color, apply my color with my section the same way I'm going to apply my balayage. And I just go through and I complete my color process just as I already have it. Now you want to make sure those sections are really saturated, like really saturated. And when I get to the front, I keep it even less. Like I would do about 1 inch or 2 inches on everything, but in the front I do at least ½ inch of the roots. I don't do all the way because there's no point of doing the whole thing when you're going to make it blonde anyways. I mean, luckily this technique works really good if it's on a reverse, where the hair is already light and you're doing a lighter level. Now I wouldn't recommend doing this technique on the hair if it's like a level 6 or lower. Like if it's really dark, I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. But as you can see, I'm going through and I'm combing it out, making sure that I can blend that color in as much as I can before I start applying my foliage. The technique is called a foliage, by the way, because I will be, well, no, technically it's called a balayage. So yeah, never mind, it's a balayage technique. So I just go through and I make sure I keep my sections nice and clean as I'm getting ready to start applying my bleach. Now I make sure the middle is blend and I overlap with the bleach. Now when you start off in the very back, I keep it as close to the roots as possible, just at least around the hairline, because you want to keep, so just in case you put her hair up, you want to see some of that blonde and not the dark. So for the first 2 sections, I always keep them nice and light and very close to the root as possible. I do the same technique as when I apply my color. So this is the second part of this 3-step. So the first step obviously is the root color, the second step is putting in that balayage, and the third step is just adding some low lights with the same color from the roots throughout the hair. Now I just continue the technique all the way through and make sure that my section is nice and clean. Typically I would do a back comb technique, but because she have color on her roots, I don't want to do that. So I keep it nice and clean, and like I said, my very first 2 sections, I do highlights all around the head, all around the hairline. As I go forward, everything else will be color in between. So this section right here will be a color in foils. Now you can use cotton to separate your foils or your balayage pieces, but because I'm doing color in between and I have the foil, I didn't feel the need to use it. So that's my technique, my way of doing it. But this technique, like I said, works best if the hair is at least a level 7 and above. If the hair is anything darker than a 6, you're gonna have that brassiness between where the color and the bleach meet. I personally wouldn't do it on a balayage or a reverse balayage if that person wants anything darker than a level 7. Now you can try it for yourself, see how you like it, but you're not going to get maximum lift if the bleach have to work through the color and also lift that client's hair. So I wouldn't recommend it, but you can give it a shot, see if you like it. I know I've seen other people do it. I personally don't like it. Now, if you want to go with a natural caramel blonde or something, then fine, go ahead, do it your way. But I still wouldn't recommend it. I would at least apply the color first, wash the hair out, and then do the balayage, just to avoid any working, you know, I want a maximum lift and my hair look as good when it's done. Actually, I had to learn the lesson the hard way recently by doing it the way I promised myself never to do it. I end up regretting it, so no, I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. And don't be afraid if your section is too big, make sure you split that section in two and then continue your process. And I do the same thing all around the head, guys. Like when it comes to the corners, I get them as close to the root as possible. Now, you don't have to go as close to the roots if you want. You can keep them a little bit lower. Just make sure you're blending that color, especially because I'm not able to back comb. There will be nothing here that's going to help to clean up the blotchiness or the lines. You have to make sure your sections are really clean and that you're applying the color, the bleach, nice and smooth. And your process don't have to take as long as well. You can also take bigger sections. My thing about taking bigger section is sometimes the bleach bleed through on the rest of the hair, especially since it's not going to be in foils. I don't like doing a big section if I want maximum brightness. Like if I want their hair to be bright, then I won't do a big section. And I continue this technique all around the head. The same, everything is diagonal forward pretty much. So everything is gonna be flowing towards the face or away from the head. I don't create lines, like I said, because I don't want to see it looking all, you know, like a straight line, pretty much like a bad ombre. I don't want to see that. So I do everything diagonal so my section will be nice and clean if she do happen to section her hair. And if you notice, my brush is turned sideways for the most of the process, most of, you know, my application, because I'm using the brush to blend the bleach into the top of the hair. So when I get to the top, I turn my brush sideways, but when I get to the very bottom, I want to make sure it's saturated. So I kind of pretty much just work my brush sway in a sway motion, like left to right, opening up the hair, making sure that the hair is actually truly saturated. If it's not saturated, then that's how you end up with bleeding spots, you know, and the blotchiness, which obviously I don't think anybody like. For her, because her hair is so light, it's really forgiving, so you don't have to overthink the process if you're doing a reverse balayage. And you can fold your section in a triangular, your foils. Fold the bottom in a triangle section so that way it doesn't like slip out. It's kind of a way to lock the foils in, to cause it not to slip, because there's color on the hair, and when the color oxidizes, sometimes, you know, it's not bleach. Usually bleach, I would definitely recommend folding your corners because the bleach swells. With the color, it sometimes gets slippery. So I personally lock them in like that. Now this very last part, or the top part, is sectioned off into a triangle. Because I want everything in this area to fall down, I don't do it in I don't do it diagonally. I just do it pretty much straight across. So it's sectioned off in a triangle. I do it straight across. Now you can continue your triangle process if you want. That will create a really good blend as well. I personally do it this way because I want, when her hair is straight, she have it kind of looking like an ombre, but when it's curled, you'll see that those highlight pieces in there. So I do it that way for multi-purposes, because if she do want to wear her hair straight, I don't want her to still just see lines. I want it to be nice and blended. Oh, and yes, you can do a few highlight pieces in there. Because it is the top, you don't want everything just to be, you know, bright or dark. I kind of mix it up, so I do a combination of pieces up there as well. I have more fun with that area than I do the rest of the head. And my sections are also a lot skinnier than the rest as well. Like I said, I want it to be natural when the hair is straight and kind of look like a balayage / ombre. And this is where you would make sure you know for sure if the client wants her highlights to be on the top of her head, or if she wants them to pretty much be, you know, falling further down. So depending on how close they want it to the scalp, that's how close you will apply your colors. So keep in mind, you don't just do this on anyone. Make sure you find out exactly where they want to go with their color. You know, how much dark do they want? How much light do they want? How often they're going to maintain it? Because that's definitely something that's important. If you're going to maintain your hair on a regular basis, then that's fine. You can go far away from the scalp. But if it's something that they're not, and the point of balayage, I'm so sorry, I'm getting carried away, but the point of balayage is to make sure that most clients don't want to come in every you know, 2-3 months to get it done. Technically, I would require 3 months, but most people want to actually wait 6 months before refreshing their balayage, and that's the point for, you know, most people who do the service. But there, as you can see, it's not, her root color is not as low as I do the rest of it, because it is in the front. And most of her front pieces, like I said, around the frame of the face, back to back, I will do blonde pieces, and then in between, like in this section right here, I do a color. So I keep the front around the face as bright as I can. Now I will do a video showing you guys my technique for money piece. If you guys want to see that, just let me know in the comment below. I will get you guys that video just showing you how I achieve a money piece look. Oh, and yes, I lock those pieces in foils because one, they're already light, and because the color have been on for the rest of the hair for so long, I want maximum lift, so those pieces are in foils so they can lift as fast as they can, but at the same time, they still separate the color from the bleach. And that's the end of my bleaching process. We shampoo. Those are the colors you're seeing, and that is pretty much just from me shampooing the hair, no toner. The pieces are a lot darker too when you look at it than when, you know, it's actually dry. When it's wet, the hair is darker, we all know that, and then it gets lighter. Now we're doing her toning process. I went for, on her roots, I did a 7P, and I'm using Shades EQ, so it's a Redken brand. I did 7P on her roots, and on her ends, I think I did a 9P and 9B. Actually, I'll get that clear. I think I did a 9V. Okay, so I did a 9V and 9B on her ends, and did a 7P on her roots. Because I don't want her too icy. I still want her to, you know, still look natural and blend really good with that dark that I gave her. So as you can see, this is the complete, almost complete service. We're blow drying it. And you can see those brighter pieces throughout the hair, and you can also see the dark pieces. Now, what you want to keep in mind, go as dark as you can, as comfortable as you feel, because the color is going to fade. And once that color fade off, all that client is going to see is blonde. So give her or them enough time to get used to having the darkness. And as it fades, say 2-3 weeks later, they can start enjoying their color, still enjoying their color. And then by 6 to 8 weeks, if they want to refresh adding some low lights, you can do that as well. But because the color is so light, they typically don't tend to last very long. So I personally would recommend going a little darker, and that's why I went with a 7.5 versus a, you know, a 8 or a 9 for her base. And there her color is done. It is blended. You can't really see the difference that much, but once it's curled, you'll definitely see those brighter pieces popping out. The thing about the camera, it doesn't truly show exactly what the hair looked like. That's a better representation of it. In person, it was a lot brighter. But as we go through and, you know, just curl her hair, you can see those pieces, you know, popping out now. Oh, I love to flat iron curl, by the way. I love flat iron curls. I will also do a video on that if you guys are interested. Let me know. I can show you guys how to work that curling iron, but it's really kind of simple. You can see it right here. And you guys are gonna notice I do almost everything diagonal. This one obviously is going backwards because I want the curls to curl, you know, going towards the back of the head. But yes, everything is diagonal. Nothing for me I do is actually done straight, even haircuts, and you guys will see that as well. So if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay tuned. I will have more fun stuff coming your way.